everyone. It's November 6, 2023, 7 p.m. here at City Council Chambers, City Hall for the City Council meeting. Call the meeting to order and entertain a roll call, please.
Beaufore. Here. Birgen.
Here I am.
Drenkow.
Here.
Myers. Here. Kangas.
Present.
Rathe.
Here.
Schneider.
Here.
And this evening, we do not have a guest council member. We'll move forward with Section C, the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. On to item D, approval of the agenda.
I'll move approval of the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion by Meyers, second by Birgen. Council discussion, if any.
I just had a question on item number 5. Is this something that should have gone under executive session to protect potential costs?
If I may, sir, I think we're just looking for confirmation to go forward with an application.
Okay.
I don't think anything else will be discussed. It's just a matter of, will you allow them to move forward to apply?
Okay,
So
I didn't know if that was
we'll
one that would fall under that parameters of.
I don't think it'll jeopardize anything, because there won't be any dollar amounts or contract items like that discussed. It's merely authorization to move forward.
Okay.
So I think we should be okay. Thank you, sir.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Section E is approval of the minutes. Entertain a motion to do so.
I'll move approval of the October 16, 2023 regular meeting minutes and the October 23, 2023 study session minutes.
Second.
Motion by Drenkow, second by Rathe. Council discussion, if any. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Skip over to Section G, public comments for items not on the agenda. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes unless additional time is granted by the presiding officer. All remarks shall be addressed to the council as a whole and not to any individual member. Any public comments this evening? You can step forward to the podium, state your name and address, and you may address the council.
Thank you. My name is John Campbell. I reside at 1001 10th Avenue Southwest. My wife and I have been residents of Waverly for nearly 60 years. I was originally going to come before the council and request that the vote for November, which I found out on the local option sales tax, be brought up for more discussion. And I found out from staff that this, which I thought was going to be in January, is no longer a January type vote. It is in November. That being said, when I got the paper from October 31st, it was a little upsetting to see that the study session minutes for the Waverly Golf Commission were given to the council, and during that presentation, Vice Chair did a very good job, as I understood it from what I read, in explaining what was going on with the golf course. But my question to the council is this a change in policy that we're going to have, that whenever a presentation is made to the council, a plea for a yes vote is acceptable? Because that's in fact what was put in the paper. As near as I can tell, that is the way it was presented to the council. Yet, local option sales tax was not used in the verbiage. The acronym lost. And I've got to be very honest with you. People who are getting to my age read the paper, take it for what is in there. As far as I know, this could have been a vote on funds for lost children, It's only after knowing that the Golf Course Commission was already going to be asking for additional funds out of that I knew LOST was not lost. I'd like to know from the council if this is going to be the new method in which we ask for and get public, I guess, backing is to do it at a council meeting. Because obviously you could have had that struck from your minutes. To me, ethically, poor taste. But I'd like to have someone from the council give me an answer to why it was allowed. And if this is going to be the case, then I have to ask the public, vote no. Because we have too many streets that need repair on a daily basis, and I happen to live on one of them. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Any other public comments for this evening? Seeing no one rise, we'll move forward with the consent calendar, Section H. Following items will be acted upon by voice vote on a single motion without separate discussion, unless someone from the council or public requests that a specific item be considered separately. Item 1 is a pay request from McClure Engineering of Clive, Iowa for the Waverly Municipal Airport Connector 2022 project for $23,313.83. Item 2 is a pay request from McClure Engineering of Clive, Iowa for the Waverly Municipal Reconstruct South T-Hangar Taxilane for $17,237.06. Item 3 is a pay request from Lodge Construction of Clarksville, Iowa for the 10th Avenue Southwest Trail Extension for $2,139.82. Item 4 is a pay request from WHKS and Company for the Baskins Creek Trail Bridge Replacement for $34,445.51. Item 5 is a pay request from Library Furniture International LLC for moving services for $31,080.60. Item 6 is a pay request from Grider Construction Incorporated for water pollution control facility improvements for $269,155.90. Item 7 is a special Class C retail alcohol license for Wartburg College. Item 8 is a Class C retail alcohol license for Z's Pizza and Diner. Item 9 is a Class B retail alcohol license for Quick Star West, number 752. Item 10 is a Class E retail alcohol license for Hy-Vee Incorporated. Item 11 is a Class C retail alcohol license for Prairie Links Golf and Event Center. Entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll move approval of the consent calendar as read by the mayor.
Second.
Motion by Rathe, second by Birgen. Council discussion, if any? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Under regular business, item number 1, resolution 23-150, approving the change order number 5 to the WPC Facility Improvements 2020 project for an increase of $47,325. Entertain a motion.
I'll move approval of Resolution 23-150, a resolution approving change order number 5 to the WPC Improvements 2020 project for an increase of $47,325.
Second.
Motion by Meyers, second by Rathe. Council discussion, if any?
I think maybe it'd be helpful if we could get a little background information for the public's edification.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you mind?
I don't know if Justin, if you want to walk through the change order, we also have Kevin Graves from WHKS, he was head of the project for the engineering firm here. Either one are likely to speak through and educate you on what we're talking about. Looks like Kevin loses, so he's got the podium for you.
Hi, thank you. I'm Kevin Graves with WHKS Engineers from our Rochester, Minnesota office. So change order number 5 for the WPC project includes several different items within it. I won't go into real specific detail on those, But there are some items in regards to some water lines, additional hydrants that'll be out on the site to help with the maintenance of the treatment facility for the operations staff, replacing some existing equipment that was, during the course of the project, was encountered and found to be in need of replacement just based on age and condition. Some anodes within the existing biosolids tank to help to keep the tank from corroding needed to be replaced. When they were able to draw that down, clean it out, and saw that those anodes inside the tank were in fact spent and needed to be replaced, I went ahead and did that, along with some electrical components for the project as we were encountering some of the projects in upgrading the electrical systems over time. Some of those existing electrical components were in need of replacement, so there were some things just based on the time of the project and as they were encountered through the construction improvements were added into the project. So that's the main items for change order number 5.
Could you help us understand, without getting too deep in the weeds, to what degree is that 47,000 for things that were discovered that couldn't have been foreseen ahead of time? And what if any part of it were things that were maybe added electively? Or is there any way that we could have avoided this kind of a change order?
Sure. In rough terms, I would say probably a 2/3, 1/3 breakdown between items that were encountered, found to be either not working or in need of replacement through some of the electrical components that maybe hadn't been used or needed with some of the existing equipment that was intended to be used with some of the new equipment that was found and needed upgrades. Along with, similar to the anodes in the biosolids tank, were covered by sludge for years, not knowing that they were spent in need. And then 1/3 was probably in that kind of electives category, some of the items for adding hydrants near different pieces of equipment to help with the operations and maintenance of equipment and to help extend the longevity of the new equipment that's being put in place.
Thank you.
So we've already used up about $400,000 of contingency funds, and we're basically every change order is extra money. Do we have any sense of how many more change orders we're going to see?
Sure. Excellent question. In terms of the encountering existing or encountering items under the ground that we weren't aware of, we're effectively complete with that work.
Okay.
There will be minimal additional changes for things where we dig up something, find either additional bedrock or pipes that may be in worse shape than originally anticipated. The bulk of the work remaining is either above ground or within buildings, for instance, at the main lift station, where some of those would be occurring. So without venturing a guess to say exactly how many or how much, I would say we are confident that it will be a minimal amount moving forward.
So at least one more.
Nothing underground at this point,
No.
so. It sounds like these were ones that were covered with sludge, so that's how we found them this time.
Yeah, it was the nicest way to put it, what they were covered with, so. And that's the hard part. A lot of these components, they simply fail. They're electrical pieces, they're used, and when you change this out, now we need them for something else. They maybe weren't sized for that or built for that. We weren't crawling around in there looking for it 3, 4, 5 years ago when this was getting designed and figured out, and this is kind of what you come upon, so.
Yep.
It's been a chunk of money, but it's a massive project that just doesn't seem to want to end, and we're hopeful to get there soon.
And full disclosure, there is at least one thing that I can think of now that is still in the works with the contractor to finalize a number that would be coming forth. So as James mentioned, we're
At least one more.
probably going to have at least one more. Yeah.
Anything further?
I noticed we have a construction update at our places here. Are you giving that at the next agenda item that's pertinent to you, or
Yes,
when is that?
He's warming up right now.
Okay, all right.
It's the introduction.
Later in the program,
Warming
just a
up.
teaser.
tuned.
He'll be up next,
Okay,
he's warming up.
all right.
Hearing nothing further, roll call Carla.
Schneider.
Yes.
Rathe.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Kangas.
Yes.
Drenkow.
Yes.
Birgen.
Yes.
Beaufore.
Yes.
Vote of 7-0, resolution 23-150 is approved. Brings us to item number 2, resolution 23-151, approving amendment number 3 to the professional services agreement with WHKS and Company of Rochester, Minnesota for additional construction phase engineering services at the WPC facility. Entertain a motion.
I'll move approval of Resolution 23-151, a resolution approving amendment number 3 to the professional services agreement with WHKS and Company of Rochester, Minnesota for additional construction phase engineering services at the WPC facility.
Second.
Motion by Rathe, second by Birgen. Council discussion? Board presentation?
Yep, if you're ready, Kevin? Sure. Let
Thank
you
you,
kind of
guys.
see where we're at, what we're still looking at. If you haven't been out there to see it, it is amazing to walk through and see just how much concrete you're talking, how big this thing is. It's incredible. So you can see where $14 million is going. Well, most of it, you can't get in the ground part, I guess, but it's, hopefully this will shed some light on it.
All right, and again, Kevin Graves, WHKS Engineers, from Rochester, Minnesota. Wanted to provide an update to the WCP project. In our construction update, the photo that we have shown here, kind of on our slide, is a very recent drone photo that was taken here just within the last week. So this really gives an idea of how much that facility has changed over the last couple of years. You can see kind of in the forefront is our large oxidation ditch, the new main treatment component that's out there. The 2 large trickling filters that used to be kind of the skyline for that area are now gone. We do have a second biosolids tank to kind of match that first one as well. So as you can see there, we're starting to actually see some green grass growing again at the facility, which is a nice change. And it's really starting to come together. So what I wanted to be able to talk about tonight was just kind of a few questions for this project. How is the new system working? Are we meeting the requirements that the DNR has put forth for us? And give you an update of the progress, what's been done, what is still left to be done, and then just kind of a summary of the overall project schedule. I know that you guys have a big agenda tonight, so I'm not going to go into real technical detail, 'cause a lot of technical engineering talk can be not so much fun. So we're going to try to keep this as brief as I can. So how is the new system working? Well, overall, I'd say the system is working well. We're hitting the effluent requirements that the DNR has put forth for us. So the BOD, the TSS, some of that engineering speak, biochemical oxygen man, total suspended solids, all that is, we're hitting very good numbers. The requirement is that you're usually under 25 for those at the treatment plant. You're in single digits right now, in the 3s and 4s. So we're seeing excellent progress out of the oxidation ditch. One of your main drivers for this project was nutrient removal. So the state of Iowa is telling you that you also need to add total nitrogen and total phosphorus into your treatment process. So we're seeing that the oxidation ditch and the work that's being done out there at the plant, it's getting close down to where the levels that the state wants you to be at. We're not quite there yet, but we're in what they've called the optimization period. The state of Iowa has told you that you get some time before your treatment plant has to just click and be able to hit those nitrogen and phosphorus numbers. So there's some optimization time. There's a 12-month monitoring period where you take samples and turn them into the DNR, but you're not held to specific effluent requirements. And then after that amount of time, then the DNR will say, okay, Waverly, this is your effluent limits for both nitrogen and phosphorus. One of the other challenges that we are providing to the treatment plant operators is increased sludge production in the process. But Justin and the guys on the plant have been doing a good job of kind of starting to work with that. They have the additional capacity now in the storage tanks, and they're optimizing how they're wasting out of the clarifiers and doing a good job of seeing how that process will really need to be optimized in the future. So we're giving them challenges, but they're doing well with it. So we just provided some photos of the progress in here, just to remind everybody what is really involved here in this 14 million that we have. The oxidation ditch is really the heart of the treatment plant process, and for lack of a better term, we created two giant lazy rivers out at the treatment plant of activated sludge. There's aerators that are spinning the water continuously, the wastewater, and that is really housing all of the bacteria that are doing the heavy lifting with treating the wastewater and turning it into something that we can turn back out into the river. So that is complete. The construction is done, and they have been in service since about this time last year. So final clarifiers, we converted your intermediate clarifier into a fourth final clarifier in the activated sludge process, needing some additional clarifier capacity that the DNR wanted to require to you. And for that, that's really the settling zone after the lazy river. This is where that sludge really settles out and heads out into your biosolids handling process. So that conversion is now complete as well. The fermenter is where it gets, well, for a bad pun, where it gets real juicy. So the fermenter is designed to take the solids that come out of your clarifier and let it sit in there and ferment. And what we're creating are volatile fatty acids. That's an engineering term for a food source for that bacteria. So once the fatty acids are created, we're going to send that back to the oxidation ditch and help the bacteria get that food so that they can really help do the enhanced biological nutrient removal, treating the nitrogen and the phosphorus. That project, or that construction, is ongoing. We're actually scheduled to try to do some startup work this coming week on the 14th for the fermenter, and we're anticipating that being online here by the end of the calendar year. And then lastly, the biosolids storage tank. You can see that second one. See from the photo, one of them is really full. We're at capacity now, and they're in the process of getting ready to load that out to the fields here shortly. But having that second tank is going to give the operators some good flexibility and operational control for the sludge removal. So those tanks are operational. There is still some work to be done on the inside of them. We're going to be installing some piping and pumping to be able to mix those well, so that sludge can really get mixed up and get sent out to the fields more effectively than it is now. So what is left to do? As I mentioned, both for the fermenter and biosolids storage tanks, there's some kind of above ground work that needs to happen for those to be fully operational. We're expecting that to happen over the course of the next couple months, so that at the main treatment plant site, all the treatment plant equipment will be up and running and going kind of full force by the end of 2023. After that is done, the focus shifts to the main lift station. So we're replacing pumps and the screen and grid equipment that's down there to add some capacity to the plant, so you are able to draw out everything from the collection system during those high rain events, which should help within the collection system, and then replace equipment that's aging and just, again, in those highly corrosive environments that fails over time. So we're putting in new equipment there, and we're anticipating that over the winter months we'll be seeing that work being done and gearing up for a spring kind of completion of the project. In addition to that, there's some site restoration items. You can see on that original picture, we're probably 3/4 of the way to getting all of everything back graded nicely and grass growing on there, as well as a concrete driveway at the plant. It's been beat up pretty good throughout the construction process, and we're going to be replacing that concrete drive. And that'll be a springtime work as weather nature permits. So as far as the overall project schedule, there's just a real brief summary here. We started this back in the middle of 2021. It's like, boy, we've been out this a long time. And the answer is, yeah, we have been. It's all been a long, tedious process, but there has been a lot of dramatic changes that have occurred over the last year, and we're seeing that the equipment is working well. We're optimistic of what 2024 is going to look like for the treatment plant. We have a projected construction completion of June of 2024 when they can get in and finish up those site restoration items. The 12-month monitoring period for the oxidation ditch runs through next to November, and then in 2025 is when we expect the DNR to say, okay, here's exactly those limits that you need to meet for nutrient reduction. So most of the real heavy lifting work is done, and now the onus will be on the treatment plant operators to optimize the system and play with the new toys we're giving them. Any questions?
Yeah, Kevin, thanks for coming and explaining that. I did have kind of a big, broad question that I probably asked a few years ago, but so if you could kind of explain what the EPA changed here. I mean, because this is we're into this for 15 million. We've got, double the sludge, and so what's good about the output? What did the EPA change? And
Yep.
we're not the only city having to do this. I mean, that's a lot of sewer plants that are having to change. I mean, can you without getting too wonky, kind of tell me what, in a nutshell, the EPA changed that brought us to here?
Yep, good question. So the primary reason for the nutrient removal strategy that the state of Iowa has put in place was, as dictated by the EPA, is to assist with the Gulf hypoxia issue. So down in the Gulf of Mexico, there's a very large dead zone where when all the nutrients that are coming through the Mississippi River and the watersheds that contain it, which is probably 2/3 of the United States, that all of the nutrients, the nitrogen and phosphorus, are creating an area where there's huge algae blooms, and then a lot of aquatic life cannot exist, and there's a large dead zone. So this is a large-scale effort to try to reduce those nutrients coming down the Mississippi and help that Gulf hypoxia issue. And you are correct, there are many other communities that are seeing similar issues. Being that you guys were kind of on the forefront, the 15 million, and if you kind of waited a few years, you'd probably be in the 20 to 25 range, and that's kind of what we're seeing with some similar communities of similar size that's going to be upcoming. So.
And we were end of life too on this, weren't we? Or pretty close, or?
Yeah. So we were able to tie that. There was some good proactive planning by the city staff to kind of pair this timing with the end of life timing of the treatment plant. It worked out well in that sense, and so I think you're going to be in a good spot moving forward.
Thank you, Kevin.
What's the estimated lifespan of this treatment facility?
Sure. So in general, most of the treatment equipment, we anticipate being about a 20-year lifespan. Concrete structures, we say usually in the 50-year range. So yeah, it's never too early to start planning for the next one.
And we have run into some obstacles. I mean, I think it might have been supply chain, but is that typical in this type of construction project, that there have been delays and it's stretched on longer than we anticipated?
Sure. So there are typically unexpected items that come up and construction delays. There are a lot of moving parts within the process. There's a general contractor and many subcontractors underneath them that all need to get coordinated. So it's not uncommon to have delays or unexpected things on the project. I will say that it is unexpected to be this dramatic in this particular case. So.
And as far as our staff out there, are we sending them for extra training to learn how to use this new facility, or what do they need to do, if anything, to be able to make the most out of it?
Sure. Wanted to field that one, Jesse?
Yes, actually Grant has been visiting numerous plants around that utilize the same equipment, and he's made contact with a lot of operators. So he has gathered valuable information on how to run it, and he has a good resource because there's some plants that have identical setups as what we have now. So.
Yeah, Grant's been very proactive in wanting to learn about the new equipment and reaching out to other contacts and learning about that. There are kind of mini training sessions as the equipment gets started up where the manufacturers are on site and helping to show the staff. But yeah, the Grant and the guys at the plant have been good about wanting to learn and taking on that new responsibility.
Good. Yeah, thanks for presenting.
Anything further? Hearing none, roll call, Carla.
Rathe.
Yes.
Meyers.
Yes.
Kangas.
Yes.
Drenkow.
Yes.
Birgen.
Yes.
Beaufore.
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
Vote is 7-0, resolution 23-151 is approved. Brings us to item 3, resolution 23-152, approving contract bonds and insurance documents for Huff Contracting of Waterloo, Iowa for the library addition and renovation project. Entertain a motion.
I'll move approval of Resolution 23-152, a resolution approving contract bonds and insurance documents for Huff Contracting of Waterloo, Iowa for the library addition and renovation project.
Second.
Motion by Drenkow, second by Kangas. Council discussion? Or any information that needs to be provided by staff? Any?
I don't think I have any information that's not already in front of you, but I'm happy to answer questions. We had 2 bidders, and we'd like to approve the contract for the low bid tonight.
Anything further?
I suppose I will ask the question that I'm sure many people at home are wondering is, this is not a city expense. This is not something that the city is paying for. This and the library is paying for. We've already contributed our $700,000, and the rest is money that the city or the library is going to be spending from fundraising and your private gifts and whatnot. Why do we have to approve it?
You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think ultimately the library itself, the building itself belongs to the city.
Okay.
And so I think any work that's done on the building needs to pass through the council for that reason.
You're still encumbering the city financially.
Okay.
Everything aside from this, you could say, well, that's going to go to the 700. Doesn't always work like that. So you're still the owner of that property. The building, when it's finished, will be city-owned, city-maintained, city dealt with, so we still have to approve everything as a signed-off fund. Even if someone came and donated $200,000 for another project, you'd still want to approve that you agree with it and take and accept that going forward. So it's still the city all the way through. It's just a different funding source than what we would have normally used.
Good example is when, like the Lions Club, if they contribute all the money for a shelter in the park, where there's no cost to the city, they're providing everything, it still comes to the council to be approved. Anything further? Hearing none, roll call, Carla.
Myers.
Yes.
Kangas.
Yes.
Drenkow.
Yes.
Birgen.
Yes.
Beaufore.
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
Rathe.
Yes.
Vote is 7-0, resolution 23-152 is approved. Item 4 is resolution 23-153, approving an agreement between the Enhance Iowa Board and the City of Waverly for the Community Attraction and Tourism Grant. Entertain a motion.
I will move approval of Resolution 23-153, a resolution approving an agreement between the Enhance Iowa Board and the City of Waverly, Iowa for the Community Attraction and Tourism Grant in the amount of $375,000.
Second.
Motion by Birgen, second by Meyers. Council discussion, if any? Hearing none.
I have a question, I guess, sorry. On the resolution, it's, at one point it says 375, the other says 325.
Oh,
Sorry, my oversight, I'll change that.
it should be 375.
And can you remind me, Sarah, of what the formula is? Like, to get that grant, you had to come up with a certain amount of, contributions or matching funds, didn't you?
They looked at all of that.
Okay.
what-
I can't remember if
what we
there was
had
a
from other
specific formula.
sources. They were typically funding between 14 and 16%, and I think our percentage, do you remember that number?
Yeah, it was just a little bit less than that, but you're right, Ann, they look at wanting to make sure there's a diversity of resources, city support, county support, public donations, all of that factors into their assessment.
Okay, thanks.
All right, hearing nothing further, roll call, Carla.
Kangas.
Yes.
Drenkow.
Yes.
Birgen.
Yes.
Beaufore.
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
Rathe.
Yes.
Meyers.
Yes.
Vote is 7-0, resolution 23-153 is approved. Item 5 is the discussion with the Waverly Housing Commission regarding interest in acquiring the West Cedar School property from the Waverly Shellrock Community School District. I've got Mr. Engelbrecht with the Housing Commission.
I guess this is more of a general topic we wanted to bring up. Obviously, everybody knows, I don't know, do we have a map? We had talked about maybe having a map, Bill, but of where the site lays. The West Cedar School sits kind of surrounded on two sides by the municipal housing. We're basically looking for feedback on trying to acquire that for either redevelopment or clearing it and doing new development for additional housing units there. We're seeing a great need, got waiting lists on all properties. So I guess just looking for general feedback, can answer any questions anybody has.
So the school board's put out an RFP request for anybody looking to solicit. So that's kind of why the timing has come to where it is. I think it's due, I want to say, the end of the month. So we met with the commission, decided, is that something we want to pursue? Obviously, since the parent company is still the city, you need to basically get your blessing to move forward to see if they're going to apply, and then if so, how they will fill that out, dollar amount, et cetera. That'll all be determined at this point in time, but they're just looking for any feedback, discussion, pro, con, kind of whatever you're thinking towards that kind of a project.
I saw there were basically 3 options itemized in there. This is to get a context of what type of answer we're looking for here. First is yes or no of interest in general, and then are we looking for an answer towards one of those 3 goals in particular on the second page?
So there's the full building
Scenarios.
conversion, the new building after demolition, or the partial conversion with part of it using it for other purposes.
I don't know that they're wanting your blessing and all that. If there's one you definitely don't want to do, you can certainly voice that opinion. Those are just options they're going to look at. They're working with a firm to figure out financially what that does look like, what's most feasible, what best serves their mission. And so they're just trying to give you all information of kind of what got them to this point, what path they've gone down. And so I don't know if they're looking for, God, don't reboot this thing now. Every time. And so I think they're just wanting feedback, honestly. Any of those options, if there's one you prefer, don't prefer, what that would look like.
I was curious it looked like you got a consult
Yeah.
from a firm, and what suggestions did they have?
I guess they basically presented all 3 options. The most feasible, I think, they were saying was maybe a partial conversion of the building. They were trying to utilize tax credits and things. They're looking just, specifically at which of those 3 do you do. We've considered and talked at the commission level, if you redevelop, you can maybe get additional buildings on there, what best serves, our mission.
And did you guys have an idea? I mean, do you think that
I
yours
don't
would be
think we've
better?
really ruled out any of them or really pushed forward with any of them. We just, with where the RFP is at now, we just want to get general feedback and kind of the blessing to move forward with making an offer and then figuring out what makes the most sense. Construction cost, as we just listened to the water
Yeah.
pollution control
Yeah.
stuff are very, very high.
Yeah.
So trying to figure out what makes the most sense and is the most bang for the buck is kind of the next step.
So do you have any idea what?
I don't think they wanted to go real in-depth if there wasn't a blessing to move forward.
Yeah, right,
Why
no,
would we discuss,
Yeah.
and then can't do it, so.
Do you have any idea what the price is gonna be?
We've got, in the feasibility study, there's some figures in there, yes, the figures are very high, but then you gotta back out the tax credit portions and things, and it's gonna, to make it pencil, they're big numbers, it's gonna be hard to make it pencil, with the conversion.
It's gonna take a lot of pencils, Ann.
There's a lot of different grants and tax credits that are, would work for a particular option. So you really can't, it's not the same. You have to
Yeah,
look
they
at
kind of.
This two for this one.
So does
and
the
this one for
commission
that
get to
one.
see those numbers?
What's that?
I'm just curious, does the commission get to see those?
Yeah, we have
Numbers,
a
okay.
study that.
Okay.
In the feasibility study, it kind of gives a grid and it says, well, if you get workforce housing tax credits and historic tax credits, but not the home grant, the home funds, there kind of walks through all those different things. And this one takes this long to do, and this one you've got to make a nonprofit corporation that's controlled by the commission members to qualify and.
Yeah, it's more than just 3 options.
Right.
There's options within
Right.
the options that all sort of spelled out.
Let me say, I think we're maybe getting the cart before the horse a little bit here, because the reason this is coming before us at this point in time is that we've been kind of pushing the school board to make a decision on what they're going to do with the properties. So we can know, and I'm talking we in terms of the Housing Commission, because I'm the liaison with the Housing Commission. So we can know what options we have moving forward with that particular property at West Cedar. And the school board made the decision, we were hoping that we could just do a negotiation with them and come up with a number that was agreeable to them, and that would be the end of it. But they decided that they wanted to have blind bids coming in and open it up to anyone who wanted to bid on the property, which I understand. I would probably have said the same thing, frankly. We've done that on properties that the city has owned. But it does make it a little bit more difficult for the commission, because the commission then has to make a bid, and the only way they can make a bid is with the support of the city saying, yes, we agree that you should go ahead and make that bid. Now, if the bid that we make doesn't really specify what we're going to do with the building. I mean, the bid is going to be the bid, no matter what happens to the building. And it's possible that we don't get the bid, it's possible that we get the bid and then decide not to use the building and go ahead and resell it, or all kinds of different things that might happen. But right now, all we're looking for is just support from the council that says, yes, this is a project that we think is worth doing, and we think that we need to go ahead and pursue this. And if you think about it, that property there where West Cedar is, it is ideal for this kind of a development. I mean, it's right next to all of the other housing properties. It's right next to the library. Not particularly, good for additional housing development, although it could probably be used for that. But it's not in the middle of a residential neighborhood. It is in the middle of a neighborhood where there is other kinds of things going on like this. So for the Housing Commission, it would be an ideal location, and we desperately need more of that kind of housing. I mean, there's a huge waiting list for people to get in. So that's kind of what triggered that, and that's why this is here tonight. And I think it's something that we need to go forward with. Now, I don't think we need to immediately tonight make a decision on what we're going to do with the property if we get it. And I don't even know what kind of bid should be done.
Well, that was my next
I know
question.
numbers have been kind of kicked around a little bit. The consultants have suggested some numbers. I'm terrible at doing that because I always bid way too high.
Well, that's where Tim had brought that up. He was absolutely correct. We don't want to tip the hand of what possibly could
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
In a closed session.
Right.
We're just looking for the authority to go move forward and then determine what numbers will be looked at, what will happen, and go in that route.
Yeah.
So.
And you got to understand too, that if there is a project that goes forward on this, it's probably not going to come out of the city budget. is going to come out of the Waverly Housing Authority.
Depends on the project.
I was gonna say, it depends on what you do.
Ultimately, maybe initially, there would be some city money that would have to be used because it would be the city that would have to purchase the property and then figure out how it was going to be titled and all of that kind of stuff. But ultimately, it would not be a city development.
Well, we own the property, so in a sense, it is a city development.
Yeah.
It's just not something we day-to-day operate or do. That's what the Housing Commission itself will take care of. We may have to front construction costs on it through our tax exempt status, and have them pay the bill. There's a whole lot of scenarios we get into.
Right.
Yeah.
We're just wanting to say, yes, we go forward, no, we don't. And that's kind of where it sits. So there's a lot of possibilities that if the property is acquired, we can talk about for a whole study session. I'm pretty sure. It's just, are we going to acquire or not? So that's kind of.
Yeah, I think it makes total sense to look at the property. I think, my reason for asking the questions is not that I'm opposed to this, but I think I like to make decisions not in a vacuum and like to know some of the context of what's going on. I think that because it is going to be, I can't imagine that the city isn't going to have to put forth some money at some point, right? But it's an ideal location. I think the other thing that I would love to have the commission look at is whether you could have a mixed-use building. Adam and I were at the dinner last week for the Ethiopian well project and the Northeast Iowa Food Bank, not the one in Waterloo, but the Community Action. They need office space. United Way needs office space. And so Head Start, so there's a variety of nonprofits that could also be headquartered there, and that's a great location for people to get to. So I'd love to see that option at least explored.
Yeah, and those are all ideas that have been kicked around.
Certainly, my thought, I agree, it's not perfect location, I mean, it's right there. The other side of their property is the railroad tracks, so they're kind of hemmed in on the one side already by the railroad tracks. So if they're going to expand where they're located, this is about where they can go. And it just happens that the schools are moving out, so it's an area that's potentially available to make a bid on, so. Long range, I was in my mind thinking, what are other things can West Cedar potentially be used for by the city? Something with the library expansion off of that. I know people have talked about a youth center or something maybe like that, but again, some of those mixed use potentials that are there, but certainly the Waverly Housing Authority can use that space.
I know that we got a little bit of this information when we had the annual report from the Housing Authority, but could you just kind of refresh our memories in terms of background information for what the need is? You said, you've got a lot of people on the waiting list. What range of demographics are those people in terms of age and just who are your who are the people that need this?
I'll invite Deb up, she's our director, she takes care of all that.
Actually, Karen takes care of the wait list, and Karen, but I did look at it today, actually, and I think there's 15 on one and like 12 on the other for the homes and the manor. But we have Red Cedar Place, we get a lot of phone calls on that too, and I'm not sure how long that waiting list is. Red Cedar Place is where they don't quite qualify. They don't qualify for HUD funding because their income is just a little too high, but they don't make enough to rent a traditional apartment, and we get a lot of calls on that as well. So there is quite a need. The demographics is typically elderly, but there are disabled as well. So it's I would say probably a majority of them are 62 or over.
Do they have to be 62, Deb, or can you have younger
For
people?
elderly, yes.
Okay.
For the manor, it's 62 or over, it's elderly only. The homes is elderly preference, but we have the younger than 62 that are disabled.
Yeah.
So they get like a point system, and if they're elderly, they get a little higher on the list. If you get through the elderly, then you can go to the disabled. So, and then the Red Cedar is 62 and over. But there is a need. I get calls daily for applications. A lot of people say, can I get in, next week? Well, no, that's not going to happen. Or I need a place January 1st. Well, we can't guarantee that. Right now, we've had a lot of openings, We've had a lot of deaths, unfortunately, and openings, but, you know, as you move through the list, some people aren't ready to move yet, so then you move to the next one. So it's fluid all the time. But there are, I'm saying daily, we get phone calls for applications. So, I mean, there's a need. And they come from not just Waverly, but the small communities around too, because they have no options in the smaller towns for, you know, affordable housing.
Well, and I think people gravitate here because the transportation
Yeah.
outside of town is terrible, so.
Right, and they have everything they need here in
Right,
Waverly, so,
There's especially a need, I think, for non-elderly.
yeah, that
Disabled.
too, yep.
Yeah.
Yes, there definitely is, so,
Thank you.
thank you.
I think the discussion has been fruitful to go around and either a yay or a nay, with the question being, consensus to, move forward with further discussions with the Housing Commission. I think I know where this is gonna go, but just to make a pseudo official.
Yay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, we have a direction.
Okay.
This is to continue the conversation towards a project. Fit the next steps into our agenda as appropriate, so.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Item 6, first reading of ordinance 1133, amending chapter 74 waterworks, section 74.12 and 74.30, chapter 75 wastewater facilities, section 75.6, and chapter 23 municipal infractions, section 23.05 of Waverly Municipal Code of Ordinances. Entertain a motion.
I'll move approval of the first reading of ordinance 1133, amending chapter 74 waterworks, section 74.12 and 74.30, chapter 75 wastewater facilities, section 75.6, and chapter 23 municipal infractions, section 23.05 of Waverly Municipal Code of Ordinances.
Second.
Motion by Schneider, second by Birgen. Council discussion.
So is this just sort of general updating, or was there a specific event or issue that triggered this?
So we're trying to tighten up the permitting process for working on water and sewer to make sure that contractors are getting permits ahead of time so that they're checking with the Public Works to find out what they need to do, what the input is from Public Works. And then it's providing us with right now, all we can do is charge somebody with a misdemeanor for not doing it. And I don't think that gives you much incentive. So the municipal infraction is really just there as so we can make sure that folks take it seriously.
Have they not been?
From time to time. You get somebody that starts their work and maybe does work without them knowing what's going on, may not be the way they want it to be done. Even though even if it's a private part of the property, it does affect our system. And so we want to make sure that the Public Works has an eye on what's going on and can monitor what those projects are.
Hearing nothing further, roll call. Carla.
Drenkow.
Yes.
Birgen.
Yes.
Beaufore.
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
Rathe.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Kangas.
Yes.
Vote 7-0. The first reading of ordinance 1133 is approved. Item 7 is resolution 23-154, approving a maintenance block service order with Spinutech LLC. Entertain a motion.
I'll move approval of resolution 23-154, a resolution approving a maintenance block service order with Spinutech LLC of Cedar Falls, Iowa, for a total amount of $4,250 for 25 hours, which is equal to $170 per hour.
Second.
Motion by Birgen, second by Rathe. Council discussion, if any.
So this is website maintenance?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and is this the company that we've used all along, or was this the one that got changed
I think we've
recently?
been using them since the inception of the
Okay.
website, or the most recent adoption of it.
Okay.
We're just about out of hours, and so we're kind of reloading the hours that we already had. You know when we started with them, Carla?
It was right around 2000. We did have a brief, 2 years, I think, that we did not use Spinutech, and we basically learned our lesson. And I say that only because the company that we did use was like based out of California, and it was really hard to communicate with them, and we ended up with a lot of hacking and spam type things going on. So this has helped in those categories.
And this is just City of Waverly website, right?
And there was a reference that we've used 92% of our contracted hours. I don't remember, what does that, like how many months do we have left in what we expected it to?
It's kind of as we
Last.
need it. I'm trying to think of frequency. I'll let Carla comment on that.
So we started the current agreement in February of '23. And so we've used roughly 21, whatever hours, 22. And so what we're trying to do is just look ahead before we actually need more hours and have to pay the more expensive, hour fee. So it's just basically getting on board with another agreement for 25 more hours.
So 25 hours is about a year? I mean, in this case, like you said,
In this case,
21
we have-
hours was about 9 months, so.
Right, in this case, yes.
Okay.
It's this
Right.
current one is the first one we've ever had.
Okay.
So we'll see going forward.
It's a learning, there's some
averages.
calibration going on here.
Correct.
Well, and if you
Okay.
don't do it, it looks like they charge you $250 an hour.
Right.
Load in the prepaid card.
That's
That's
what I was
right.
just thinking.
I'm saying reloading your hours. That's how you
Don't get ahead of time, yep.
All right, hearing nothing further, roll call, Carla.
Bergen.
Yes.
Beaufort.
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
Rathe.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Kangas.
Yes.
Drenkow.
Yes.
Vote is 7-0, resolution 23-154 is approved. Item 8 is resolution 23-155, approving the state of Iowa fiscal year 2023 street financial report.
We'll move approval of resolution 23-155, resolution approving the state of Iowa fiscal year 2023 street financial report.
Second.
Motion by Kangas, second by Drenkow. Council discussion.
Yes, state of Iowa, we still have streets.
I think this is a really well-organized report, and I thought Valerie did a great job, so I was just amazed at how everything seemed to be laid out, and everything seemed to make sense, so.
This is the one that has to be filed with the state? Is that correct? Yeah.
This one where we kind of tell them all the stuff that we have in case anybody needs something for a loan or we need to find something.
Yep, just summarizes road use tax, streets, everything we've done, expense revenue. It's just that annual review we do every single fall, so.
All right. Hearing nothing further, roll call, Carla.
Beaufort.
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
Rathe.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Kangas.
Yes.
Drenkow.
Yes.
Bergen.
Yes.
Vote of 7-0, resolution 23-155 is approved. Item number 9 is the first reading of ordinance 1134, amending chapter 100 zoning, section 100.6A.03 R1A dimensional requirements, section 100.7.03 R2 dimensional requirements, section 100.8.03 R3 required provisions, and section 100.9.03 dimensional requirements, and setting a public hearing.
I will move approval of the first reading of ordinance 1134, an ordinance amending Chapter 100 zoning, Section 100.6A.03 R1A dimensional requirements, Section 100.7.03 R2 dimensional requirements, Section 100.8.03 R3 required provisions, and Section 100.9.03 dimensional requirements, and setting a public hearing for November 20th, 2023 at 7 p.m. in the City Council chambers at City Hall.
Second.
Motion by Birgen, second by Meyers. Discussion, if any?
This is all about driveway width.
I was going to say, it looks like all of that is about making sure shared driveways are all 40 feet. Is that correct, Pete?
You could have Pete come up and talk to you about it. We might not want to have that happen.
That sounds like a conversation I'd prefer to have over a beer.
We'll let you. Hearing nothing further, roll call, Carla.
Schneider.
Yes.
Rathe.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Kangas.
Yes.
Drenkow.
Yes.
Bergen.
Yes.
Beaufort.
Yes.
Vote of 7-0, the first reading of ordinance 1134 is approved. Item 10 is resolution 23-156, updating and adopting a new City of Waverly zoning map to reflect zoning changes made during 2023. Entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve resolution 23-156, a resolution updating and adopting a new City of Waverly zoning map to reflect zoning changes made during 2023.
Second.
Motion by Schneider, second by Birgen. Council discussion.
So just to clarify, if I'm understanding correctly, this is not changing anything, it's taking the changes we've already made and putting them in a graphic document.
Applying of the actual zoning map itself.
Looks like it.
Thank you.
Not too graphic, though.
It's PG, it's good.
There you go. Hearing nothing further, roll call, Carla.
Rathe?
Yes.
Meyers?
Yes.
Kangas?
Yes.
Drenkow?
Yes.
Birgen?
Yes.
Beaufore?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Vote of 7-0, resolution 23-156 is approved. Brings us to item 11, resolution 23-157, approving contract documents and certificate of insurance from Blackhawk Electrical Company for option 1 to add light posts and lighting to the dog park in the amount of $28,000 even.
I'll move approval of resolution 23-157, a resolution approving contract documents from Blackhawk Electrical Company for option 1 to add light posts and lighting to the dog park in the amount of $28,000.
Second.
Motion by Meyers, second by Beaufort. Council discussion. Hearing none, roll call, Carla.
Meyers?
Yes.
Kangas?
Yes.
Drenkow?
Yes.
Bergen?
Yes.
Beaufort?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Rathe?
Yes.
Vote is 7-0, let there be light with resolution 23-157. Item 12 is resolution 23-158, approving change order number 1 and accepting the City Hall and Fire Station driveway repairs 2023 project is complete and approving pay estimate number 2 as the final payment. Entertain a motion.
I'll move approval of resolution 23-158, a resolution approving change order number 1 for the increased amount of $1,077.31 and accepting the City Hall and Fire Station driveway repairs 2023 project as complete and approving pay estimate number 2 in the amount of $2,533.55 as a final payment to Feldman Concrete of Dyersville, Iowa.
Second.
Motion by Drenkow, second by Birgen. Council discussion, if any. The future of the tow hooks on the fire trucks are safe now. Nothing further. Roll call, please.
Kangas?
Yes.
Drenkow?
Yes.
Bergen?
Yes.
Beaufort?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Rathe?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Vote is 7-0, resolution 23-158 is approved. Item 13 is resolution 23-159, approving change order number 1 to accept the alley reconstruction 2023 project is complete and approve pay estimate number 2 as the final payment.
I'll move approval of resolution 23-159, a resolution approving change order number 1 for an increased amount of $724.32, accept the alley reconstruction 2023 project as complete, and approve pay estimate number 2 in the amount of $3,657.13 as the final payment to Feldman Concrete of Dyersville, Iowa.
Second.
Motion by Rathe, second by Birgen. Council discussion. Hearing none, roll call, Carla.
Drenkow?
Yes.
Bergen?
Yes.
Beaufort?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Rathe?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Kangas?
Yes.
Vote is 7-0, resolution 23-159 is approved. Item 14, resolution 23-160, accepting the asphalt patching fall 2023 project is complete, approving the partial pay estimate number 1 and approving pay estimate number 2 as the final payment to Blacktop Service Company of Humboldt, Iowa. Entertain a motion.
I will move approval of resolution 23-160, accepting the asphalt patching fall 2023 project as complete, approving partial pay estimate number 1 in the amount of $37,951.36, and approving pay estimate number 2 in the amount of $1,997.44 as the final payment to Blacktop Service Company of Humboldt, Iowa.
Second.
Motion by Birgen, second by Kangas. Council discussion, if any. Hearing none, roll call, Carla.
Bergen.
Yes.
Beaufore.
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
Rathe.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Kangas.
Yes.
Drenkow.
Yes.
Vote of 7-0, Resolution 23-160 is approved. Item 15 is the first reading of Ordinance 1135, amending Chapter 69 Solid Waste, Sections 69.2, 69.3, 69.4, and 69.6 of the City of Waverly Municipal Code of Ordinances. Entertain a motion.
I move approval of the first reading of ordinance 1135, an ordinance amending chapter 69 solid waste, section 69.2, 69.3, 69.4, and 69.6 of the City of Waverly Municipal Code of Ordinances.
Second.
Motion by Schneider, second by Rathe. Council discussion, if any. Hearing none, roll call, Carla.
Beaufort.
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
Rathe.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Kangas.
Yes.
Drenkow.
Yes.
Bergen.
Yes.
Vote of 7-0, the first reading of ordinance 1135 is approved. Item 16, resolution 23-162, accepting the downtown brick sidewalk repairs fall 2023 project is complete, approving pay estimate number 1 is the final payment to Wells Hollow Landscaping of Waverly, Iowa. Entertain a motion.
I will move approval of Resolution 23-162, a resolution accepting the downtown brick sidewalk repairs fall 2023 project as complete, approving pay estimate number 1 in the amount of $14,869 as the final payment to Wells Hollow Landscaping of Waverly, Iowa.
Second.
Motion by Drenkow, second by Beaufort. Council discussion.
I saw them working a number of times downtown, but I haven't had a chance to really walk around and see the finished product. I assume that it is much safer than it has been. If our downtown people here.
From what I can see from my end of the street, it's good.
Okay.
When I'm walking, I find it fine. I haven't tripped over a brick in a while.
I wonder how long it'll, before we have to do it again. Hard to know.
It's gonna be continual maintenance.
Yeah.
Freeze, the thaw, it just is. And we've still got some we can do more of, but at some point you can do what you can do, get a reset in there, but it's gonna be a continuation.
At some point, I would maybe want to entertain just replacing it with something that you wouldn't have to redo all the time.
Stamped concrete.
Something like that.
Yeah,
If you continue to have these issues.
we're gonna continue to have these issues.
Yeah.
Even parts of it, there's places like around the trees where you may have to do a replacement in the future. That makes sense to leave a buffer area where you can really excavate around it. But the areas could be permanent.
I mean, we're not going to get into the discussion of
Yeah.
this tonight, obviously, but, when there was a lot of concerns with some of the merchants with the brick, whether it would create tripping hazards, whether they were going to have footing problems when it rained, they do get slick, those kinds of things. So at some point, it may be an issue that needs to be taken a look at.
I've had that concern brought to my attention, especially on the south side during the winter. You don't have the sun on it, so it takes a while for it to, just by air temperature, to recover, so it's not slick, that kind of thing, so. But, all right. Hearing nothing further, roll call, Carla.
Schneider.
Yes.
Rathe.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Kangas.
Yes.
Drenkow.
Yes.
Bergen.
Yes.
Beaufort.
Yes.
Vote is 7-0, resolution 23-162 is approved. Brings us to the last item here of first reading of ordinance 1136, adopting the city code of the City of Waverly, Iowa, and setting a public hearing. Entertain a motion.
I will move approval of the first reading of ordinance 1136, adopting the city code of the City of Waverly, Iowa, and setting December 4th, 2023 at 7 p.m. in the council chambers of City Hall as the date, time, and place for a public hearing.
Second.
Motion by Birgen, second by Rathe. Want to clarify, I've got in my notes a November 20th date.
And that's what mine says too.
Okay, well, mine says December 4th, so
Yes.
Right, that's why I was wanting to,
should that be?
Well, November 20th isn't a regular meeting either, it's a...
No, it is.
No, it
Yeah, it
is.
is.
It's 2 weeks from now.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Shall I amend my motion to be November 20th?
So it should be November 20th, so if you'd
So-
like to amend the date to
I will
November
amend my
20th.
motion to say November 20th as the date for the.
Second.
Sorry about that.
Second is,
Yeah, she's got a second, so she'll accept the amendment.
Yeah,
Then we'll stick
sure.
with the way it's written. Thank you, though. So motion by Birgen with the amendment to December 4th.
From December 4th to
From
November
December 4th
22nd.
to November
Yeah,
20th,
November 20th,
correct.
20th.
And seconded by Rathe after the amendment. Further discussion? Hearing none, roll call Carla.
Rathe?
Yes.
Meyers?
Yes.
Kangas?
Yes.
Drenkow?
Yes.
Bergen?
Yes.
Beaufore?
Yes.
Schneider?
yes.
Vote of 7-0, the first reading of ordinance 1136 is approved. Section 18, or item 18, approval of the mayoral appointments. We have one this evening due to a vacancy, seeking to approve Ann Arns to the Board of Adjustments to fill a vacancy for a term expiring on May 1st, 2025. Entertain a motion. I'll entertain it tonight, Pete.
We'll entertain it just quickly. I want to just thank you as the mayor and council for acting on this one. We've been at a vacancy since July. And I just, with election day, you're going to have a few new changes around. Just a reminder for the mayor, council people, finding good people that'll come and serve on boards is very important to the operations of the city. Thank you.
Very true words, sir. Thank you.
I would move the mayoral appointment.
Second.
Motion by Kangas, second by Beaufort. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Section J is a list of reports from boards and commissions. I'll read through them briefly. Item 1 is Golf Course Commission Minutes of June 13th, 23. Item 2 is Leisure Services Commission Minutes of August 17th, 23. Item 3 is the Bremer Waverly Law Enforcement Board Minutes of September 12th, 23. Item 4 is the Waverly Public Library Board of Trustees Minutes of September 12th, 23. Item 5 is the Golf Course Commission Minutes of September 12th, 23. Item 6 is the Leisure Services Commission Minutes of September 21st, 23. Item 7 is the Historic Preservation Commission Minutes from September 25th, 23. And item 8 is the Waverly Senior Center Calendar for November 23. All received into the record. Brings us to staff updates. Mr. Bronner.
We do have a few tonight, sir.
Thank you.
Just a quick notification, the free leave pickup was supposed to end this Friday. We've extended that till November 17th due to the leaves deciding not to drop. And also November 17th is the last day for leaf vacuuming appointments. Yard waste site hours have been adjusted to close at 4:30 due to daylight savings time. Tentatively, yard waste site last day is November 18th, but looking at the long-range forecast, it looks like we might be able to extend that a little while if we get some good weather. And then finally, mulch. If anybody's looking for any mulch, just some nice weather on weekends. We're running a special. We got some that we need to move out the yard waste site for $10 a load within the city limits. If anybody needs anything, set up an appointment with us and we can get it delivered.
All right, Candlelight Walk was this last weekend. We had a great night on Saturday night, temperature-wise. We ended up with 179 people. Unbelievable turnout, and 12 dogs. So there's a lower number for dogs than typical, but yeah, we had a lot of fun. I think the people who came out had a lot of fun. And again, Ann, thank you for volunteering to help with the setup. You know, it's mostly put on by volunteers, so, you know, we always need volunteers for that. Then the other thing that I have is Waverly Trees Forever has extended the rebate program for trees. We have extended that to November 11th, so that's this Saturday. Get out to, the programs run through Teats, So get out there and get a tree or two purchased. Thanks.
One more, sir.
Yes, sir.
With our construction officially starting tomorrow, I just wanted to announce that the November 13th, so that would be next Monday, through December 3rd, so with the holiday in there, it's about 2.5 weeks that the library will be closed for moving the entire collection over to one part of the building, getting us ready to operate out of a small part of the building for several months. So November 13th through December 3rd, the library will be closed.
Will people
Like
be
for
able to,
everything.
will people be able to access books? So can they like request books and like pick them up or something during that time?
Not during this time, not during the moving time, but after that, most certainly.
What if I have a book that is due to be returned?
We're
So
going
you
to
don't
have
Get
a,
past due
Can they
charge.
use
No,
the-
we don't have past due charge.
no past due
Yeah, you don't have
charges.
fines anymore.
Can they
In
put it in
fact,
the book drop or not?
I'm not sure when the work on the book drop will start, but when that's not possible anymore, we'll have another temporary drop outside the library at some point. So there will be a way to drop off your books.
Okay.
But don't worry if they're,
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to just keep it until December 3rd, so.
well, you know,
Nobody's
stock
gonna be
up.
checking
so.
it out.
I might lose it by that time.
I do have one question for you. So do you still have a program at the library with books that can be purchased, like older books, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, our friends group, that
Right, yeah.
room for the book sale room, yeah. And that will continue when we're open for good in July.
Right.
But that won't be available during the next several months.
Right, but that's available up until the 3rd, is that correct?
Up until the November 13th.
13th, that's,
Yep.
sorry, not the 3rd,
Yep.
13th, okay. So there's a good way to support the causes of the library, take possession of a book, read it till its useful life, and
Yep.
pass it on to someone else.
And if
during
there are
this time,
folks who want to stock up on books for the next few weeks, that's good too.
Especially with kids, so.
I have one more question. I had seen on Facebook that the bookmobile is almost here.
Yes.
So will that be functional during these months of
Yes.
the renovation?
Yeah, the delivery date is set for the 16th of November, and we have some training to do as staff. We need to stock it, learn all the tricks, and then we're going to have a grand opening for it at the beginning of December. But we plan to use it a lot during this period of time. So, yeah.
Thanks.
That's all we have to answer.
All right, thank you. Brings us to city council comments. Ms. Meyers.
If you haven't already done it, go vote tomorrow. This
Thanks.
is a little election, but it's important.
Absolutely. Mr. Birgen.
Piggybacking on that, polls are open from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. So if you're trying to decide when to go vote tomorrow, between 7 and 8. And anyone who would like to join me to discuss city business, come join me at the poorhouse for a beer.
Nothing to add. Thank you. Mr. Drenkow?
Vote. Go vote.
All right. Imagine that. Ms. Rathe?
So if you happen to have tickets to the UNI women's basketball game Sunday afternoon, they're playing Caitlin Clark and the Iowa Hawkeye women's team. If you have tickets, please come to the Exchange Club concession stand if you want to see organized chaos involving food.
Absolutely,
Because
I'll be there.
we are working the concession stand as a fundraiser. Also, thank you to the people that organized the dinner last Thursday night, the Ethiopian dinner. The food was great. Thank you to the Rotary Club and the Wartburg students and
Ed?
Ed for organizing that. It was a nice event.
All right, thank you. Ms. Beaufore?
No comments tonight.
All right, Mr. Kangas?
Just to re-echo that this is your chance to participate. This is your government, your opportunity. It's both city government, school board. Please vote.
Absolutely. I'll just throw it out there, again, there's two sides to the ballot, front and back, meaning that there's choices on the ballot, obviously. make sure that you participate in each of the races and items on the ballot. Also, I want to just vocally say thank you to our veterans as we honor them this coming Saturday for Veterans Day. So just throwing that out there. And I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Kangas, second by Birgen. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.